I really couldn't do it without you guys. Could not do it without you guys. I'm now live on Facebook. I am now live on YouTube, giving God thanks for the opportunity to jump on and to share. All right, I see someone, Sister Crystal, jumping on, and Sister Crystal say, Sister Crystal knows who, she didn't even say Novia, and she says Nisha, so she knows her. And she says, oh, nice, she's a nice lady. So I have a nice lady in the studio with me this morning that I'm going to be talking to. All right, so yes, indeed, jump on if you want to see us in studio. If you're not able to and you're just able to listen as you work or as you do what you do, that works also. But if you're able to jump onto Facebook, if you're able to jump onto YouTube, please jump on. You know, we want to see you guys. And I know when you come on, you'll see the face behind the voices, eh? So jump on. I see persons jumping on already. Awesome. Welcome, everyone, to the Morning Flow here on HGG Radio. Good to have you with me this morning. I'm your host, Odette Thompson. OT is here with you today, Monday, the 3rd day of June, 2024. 2024. So many persons started the weekend and they're not here with us in the land of the living. And I will always say that, because I know that if it had not been for the Lord on my side, I wouldn't be here this morning. So I will always give him glory for that. I will always give him praise for that. Absolutely no rock will be crying out in my place. Sister Nevers, how are you doing today, beloved? Lord, you're making me smile in the place. Sister Nevers, good morning to you. Blessings to you, beloved. How are you doing? How is everything going? I know you must be... Listen, Christmas come early for you, don't it? Yes? We've been praying for Sister Nevers, and she gave a wonderful, wonderful testimony on Wednesday, and we give God thanks, and we celebrate with you this morning, and I know that you are elated. You are elated. This month is your birth month. Oh, my goodness. What? You got an early birthday present. Sister Nevers. I am so happy that you're able to celebrate not only your birthday, but what God has done. Look what the Lord has done. Yeah? Who could it be? And that's what I love about him, you know. You see, when Mary and Martha said to him, listen, it's too late. He's dead 4 days and it doesn't make any sense. Listen to me. It had to come down to this point where we would only say it had to be God. If he had come earlier, then you could say, But when you get to the stage of somebody being dead for all of 4 days, and the tradition is they have them for 3 days. On the 4th day, that, okay, life has left their body. Because maybe they could be in a coma and they could be unconscious, but the 4th day, no, they're dead. So he will allow a situation to die, yes, just to bring it back to life so that you can give him glory. So I glorify the Lord with you this morning, Sister Nevers. Really, really happy, really, really happy for you. Really, really happy for you. To God be the glory for the things that he has done and for the things that he's doing and for the things that he's about to do. Yes, we serve a miracle working God. So this morning, we're going to be talking to Novia Hudson this morning. We're going to be talking to her about the book that she wrote. And I have the book with me, and I made sure to take the book in with me this morning. I have the book, so I'm not lying. I have the book, right? She wrote a book, and the book is called Relationship Barriers. Spiritual and natural. And you know that we are social beings and we have relationships. Whenever persons hear the word relationship, some persons automatically go to uh, intimate relationships. But, we have relationships with our friends, we have relationships with our families. Yes? And so you can have barriers in those relationships. So we're going to be talking to the author of this book this morning. And I'm looking forward to this wonderful, wonderful conversation. Yes? Are you looking forward to the conversation? I am. And we give God thanks for that.
Are you feeling hopeless, disappointed, even unfulfilled in your relationship? Whether you're single, engaged, married, separated, or divorced, from the beginning of time, this one thing is for sure. Couples have wrestled in their relationships, and now more than ever, the family is being attacked. From finance, communication, infidelity, incompatibility, it is hard to push past these barriers. With this book, Relationship Barriers, you are sure to be equipped when you learn the principles that will bulletproof your union and take your relationship to a whole new level, where love, joy, peace, and understanding is your ever after.
Join us on June 15th at 1 p.m. MST on HGG Radio for the book launch, Relationship Barriers, Spiritual and Natural, with author Novia Hudson. Don't miss it.
We do give God thanks. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Join us. We're going to have the book launch then. But we do have her here in studio with us this morning. And I'm going to bring her on. Here she is, the woman of the hour. To God be the glory. All right. Good morning. Good morning to you. Novia, how are you doing this morning?
I'm blessed. I'm well. Thank you for having me here.
And we didn't hear that just now.
I'm blessed. I'm well. Thank you for having me here.
All right. So we want to welcome you to the Morning Flow and the segment Higher Hits. It's an honor and a privilege to have you in studio with us this morning to talk about the book that you have written. I have been reading the book and actually made some notes for myself, not for the interview. I made some notes for myself with some guidelines, and I'm like, this is nice to know. All right, I like this. And I did take some parts out. All right, but before we go into the book itself, I want you to tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about Novia. Who is Novia?
Hi, good day, Blessings, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. So this book was actually birthed in 2007, actually. And the reason why it was birthed, I went through a very devastating situation. I had given my life to the Lord in 1996, baptized, filled with the Holy Spirit. And I came to a point that after I finished graduating college and whatnot, I found myself yearning to be in a relationship. However, I was a single mother at the time, and I found that I couldn't connect. I found that I was yearning for that next level in my life of being in a relationship, but I couldn't quite fit in. And in church, I find that there was married people, there was young people, there was seniors, and I found myself, okay, I'm a single mother, and I felt like I wasn't very necessarily looked at as a perspective for, someone to date or to court. So long story short, sometimes we go and we do things, and I said, I'm going to go and help myself to find love. And I was so young at the time. I didn't know much. I was only like 22, and it caused me to go through a lot of trials and errors that I wish not anyone to have gone through. So fast forward in 2007, I found myself left brokenhearted and just feeling that, okay, Lord, how does this thing work for me? I've tried my own way. I've, and I'm here left brokenhearted. And I feel that this book was inspired because even as believers in the body of Christ, I feel that this is a topic that sometimes we don't touch on enough. We wrestle in this area of relationships and how to even court, how to date, all of it. So I said, you know what? I need to I need to encourage people, and the Lord placed it on my heart that this book needs to be written. And I started it, but I never did finish it. So, a wonderful man of God who I look up to, Miles Monroe. I remember this summer was very clear, and he said, "Some of you guys, God has given you a book to write, and you still haven't done it." And I felt such conviction, and I said, "You know what? There it is. I have to complete this book." So that's a little bit about me and a little bit about the book and what the book is about.
Okay, sounding good, sounding good. So the book is coming from an intimate place. I like that. I like that. It's not shallow, people. It's coming from a place of depth. It's coming from a place of experience. And that's always the best place to guide and to direct from, a place of experience. Experience does teach wisdom. And so, based on what you've gone through, you said, you know what? I don't want anybody else to go through this, so I'm going to just guide them and say, listen, do it this way. It will be less heartache for you. All right, so I do give God thanks for you. All right, so you mentioned where the book was birthed and from your experience. And you also mentioned that you started, but you didn't finish, and then you eventually got the nudge again from Dr. Monroe. But in entirety, how long did it take you to write the book?
So this book, the first part of it, the first two chapters was actually written, I believe, in 2010. Yes. Yes, 2010. And it was so funny. I remember in 2017, I spoke to a dear, wonderful woman of God that God had placed in my life. And I said to her, I said, I want to finish the book, but I'm stuck and I can't. Some people call it writer's block. And I'm like, why can't I finish this book? And she said, because you are the book. And she said, you haven't learned what you needed to learn yet. That's why you can't complete the book. And I said, wow. That gave me peace. That gave me assurance. And I said, okay, Lord, have your way. The book will give birth when I've learned what I need to learn. So here we are, 2024. It's like when she said that, she prophesied, and I went through it was like a crash course, intense crash course of just going through almost a lot of different things, and even my own marriage, just like, okay, like a lot of navigation, a lot of figuring out how do we do this, what. So I feel that it came full circle, full time, and I learned what I needed to learn, so therefore I could have completed the book.
Okay, sounding very good. Again, experience. So we're sensing more about this book, because it's not just something that she put pen to paper and just wrote. It was coming from not only from the birth, but it's experience over the years. So what was the process like getting the book from thought to the physical thing that I can hold in my hand here? Because it took you a few years to write it, having gone through all of what you've gone through. But what was the process like getting it from? And I'm a paper person, so I don't know if you were around a desk with paper and pen, or if you used your laptop and you did all of that. What was the process like, putting the words down and then getting it to this stage?
Okay, so I have a laptop. Oh, it's funny, as Minister Odette, it's actually, I'm glad you brought this to me. Do you know that when I started this book, I started out on a laptop. And do you know that the laptop completely crashed? It's called a blue screen. Once you see a blue screen, that's the screen of death. It is what they call it in that world. And I lost everything. And those were the days, like in 2010, nobody was really using what they call a scan drive or the USB. So then I was like, oh my gosh, how do I get my book? And I had to go to a recovery center. And I paid quite a bit of money. I had to pay $1,000 for this man to retrieve. I'm like, I can't lose it because Odette, Minister Odette, as you said, this was not a pen and paper. Everything I was doing was on my laptop. And the blue screen of death came and I lost everything. And I said, my God, what is this? And the Lord allowed me to just connect it. There wasn't many people that was doing that type of reconstruction at the time to find work that you had lost. And so by the grace of God, this man's like, it's going to take some time, but I'll be able to retrieve it. So that was a part of the process. So it took some time. And then in that time, it was very expensive. Like I said, over $1,000 to retrieve it. So then I had to start putting money aside and just, it started to get a little bit, and then I'm like, I can't continue from where I was because everything is in there. So that once again took another time for me to like be halted in the process. So I finally did retrieve it. And when I retrieved it back, I made sure that he put it on, it's called a hard drive. That way, if anything happens, it will always be in the hard drive.
Right.
So from there, I said, okay. And the process kind of went like, whenever I felt impressed or inspired, like I knew, we know we go through seasons. And I think when we go through seasons, we know and we can feel and we sense and we know like, I just went through a season. So the creative process, I would only write Minister Odette in those times of seasons. When the Lord impressed upon me, share this. If he didn't give it to me, I wouldn't write.
Okay. All right. What an experience. Oh my goodness. I'm sure that there was this panic that came over you when you saw that blue screen.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I know I have heard of many a tale of that screen where persons, oh my God, it's dead. But I'm so happy that you were able to retrieve, that we can have this book with us today. All right. So with regards to the book and you feeling the urgency to share your experience and to guide persons from the pitfall of heartache, would you call this a part of your purpose?
100%. Yes, I would. It is a part of my purpose because my background, my personal family background, as I was speaking with you prior to this live session, I never knew my dad. To this day, I don't know him, never met him. My mother, in a sense, was not in a place to raise us. So we had to be raised by my sisters and I, my grandmother. And I think the kind of brokenness started from at an early age, because when you look, most people, you can look upon your mother's face, you can look upon your father's face, and you feel a sense of, oh, this is who I am. You can feel a sense of identifying. And I didn't have that. So my grandmother was my mother and my father. And having that kind of unique family dynamics caused me to kind of look at other. I remember, like, honestly, when I was in school, I remember other people would have their parents coming out, participating. Now, my grandmother adopted us at the age of 65. And I was 4 years old. So if you think about it, she's ready to retire and she's now raising 3 young girls. Now, as luckily my grandfather at the time, he was there to help her, but he was so busy that, it was mostly on her where the child rearing was. Fast forward later, a few years, and I do share this in the book, my grandparents actually separated and went through a divorce. This now already created more heartache and more questions that I already had. I'm like, okay, I don't know my mother. I don't know my father. The only people I know as mom and dad now, they're not together. And I find that it set me on a path of trying to understand myself and trying to understand love and family coming from those dynamics, and wondering, why is other families together? Why did my family did not be together? Why was my dynamic so broken? And that just started to actually lead me on a path of what I went to school for. They always say you teach what you need to learn, and also you learn what you need to teach. And so as a result, I took in I went to school to learn about family dynamics and how it works and how this functions and why is some families broken and all these different things. So that is um that is a kind of way that led me to here. Yes.
Okay. All right. So everything is wrapped up in the purpose of God. For I know the thoughts that I have for you. Yes, saith the Lord, to bring you to an expected end. So even in your time of questioning, even in your time of, okay, I feel displaced, I'm not sure who I am not sure where I fit in, it was all a part of the process that you needed to go through to guide you to your purpose, that you can now sit here and talk to others who may be going through the same thing, you know? And oftentimes when we're going through it, we don't like it. Yeah?
Yeah.
But when we look back to say, hey, okay, I understand now why this had to happen. Because when others are going through, they have you and they can say to you, hey, Novia, talk to me about this. I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling displaced. I'm feeling despondent. I'm not feeling like I fit in, you know? And so it's not about you, but about bringing out the purpose that God had placed in you. All right. So what advice would you give to someone, though? Someone that, you know, you said you had this experience, right? You had this experience and it is out of your experience why this came about. But what advice would you give to someone who is wanting to write a book, but they're not knowing where to start, where to go, where to turn? What advice would you give to that person?
I would first ask them to please pray. I know that the Lord, He will always lead us in the way that we should go. And pray and seek the Lord's face. And if you are not a believer and you're listening, look at your life and ask yourself, what is the things that you enjoy? What is the thing that you know that you feel that you're most knowledgeable about? And what is something that is passionate? Do you have a passion? Is there something that you wake up every day and it's like a burden to you? Something that is always on your mind, and no matter how much you try to put it to the back, it keeps on coming back. I would encourage you to use those three possible ways to see what it is for what topic you would like to possibly write about. And then once you have that and you find peace within it, then I would say to create an outline. Create an outline, build your skeleton. So basically write down the things about that topic that that ignites you the most. Write it in point form. So you could write it from A to Z, 1 to 5, however you choose to write it, and then create your outline. Once you create your outline of your passions, your topics that you really want to hit, then I would say in chronological order, because I made that mistake, then write from that chronological order and then begin to fill in the chapters of the book.
Okay. All right. Thank you. There you have it. You have the guideline. If you're feeling like there's a book inside your belly to come out, yes, just seek the Lord. Seek the Lord. That's the first thing that you ought to do. And I like that. Always get instructions. I always allude to the fact that that's what David did each and every time. And this is why the Lord could say about David, he was a man after his own heart. David didn't just jump up and do anything. I like that you said pray about it first. Have the Lord guide and direct you. I want to welcome all our listeners and our viewers across the nations of the world to the Morning Flow and the segment Higher Hits. We have a very special guest with us this morning, Novia Hudson. She is the author of the day, and we're talking to her about the book that she has written, Relationship Barriers, Spiritual and Natural. All right. And we are talking to her this morning, and we're getting the insights and foresights and all of the sights we're getting from her this morning as to how this book came about. And it is I'm loving what she's saying because it's coming from a place of experience. I'm loving what she's saying because it's coming from a place of depth. Yes, it was birth. And those are that passion. When you birth that, I tell you, it's not anything that is light. It is something that comes with substance. And so I do give God thanks for you that throughout the years you were able to put pen to paper and you're able to sitting before me this morning. You're able to be sitting before me this morning and write and talk and encourage someone that might be going through the same thing.
Are you feeling hopeless, disappointed, even unfulfilled in your relationship? Whether you're single, engaged, married, separated, or divorced, from the beginning of time, this one thing is for sure. Couples have wrestled in their relationships, and now more than ever, the family is being attacked. From finance, communication, infidelity, incompatibility, it is hard to push past these barriers. With this book, Relationship Barriers, you are sure to be equipped when you learn the principles that will bulletproof your union and take your relationship to a whole new level, where love, joy, peace, and understanding is your ever after.
Join us on June 15th at 1 p.m. MST on HGG Radio for the book launch, Relationship Barriers, Spiritual and Natural, with author Novia Hudson. Don't miss it.
All right, so June 15th, we're going to have the official book launch, but we are here with her this morning with a teaser. I love it. We're here this morning with author Nisha, and she's coming to us about relationship barriers. And we're talking about, you touched on something earlier when you first started talking, and you mentioned that, growing up in the church, these are topics that not many persons talk about. There's not many individuals that are there to guide you into relationships, courtships, and we find too that there will be issues that come up, and hence we have a lot of divorces and we have a lot of broken marriages and a lot of broken families because it's not identified, it's not dealt with. And so I'm happy that you actually touched on that topic. All right, I want you to give me a little bit more insight on your thoughts where that's concerned.
Yes. So I feel that we need to start dealing with this because I believe that the cornerstone of every healthy the cornerstone of every healthy society, as well as the church, is a healthy family. That's the cornerstone of a healthy society. And if we look at it right now, the family, where a lot of people are working, gone are the days when one income could do it. So we have both mother and father working. And although we love God, there's still both parents sometimes working. You're blessed if you don't have to. But I feel that if we go back to biblical principles, I love to refer to the Proverbs 31 woman. It said a lot of things. It said her husband is known in the gates. It said that she considers and she buys a field. She was also an entrepreneur. So I feel that when we look at the Bible and the way things were constructed, I do believe that there is a divine order. And I believe the woman is, and she can. I'm not against women working. So you can go out and you can do your own thing. But I believe that we have to be in a self where we are balanced, because when we are not balanced, we are not able to pour into our spouse, if that's the case. If we're drained and we have nothing to give, we cannot give. So where do we get our fulfillment? We get our fulfillment from God. We get our fulfillment from taking care of ourselves. And I just feel that we're in a society right now that is basically moving away from that. And if I have nothing to give to myself and I don't have the time, how could I pour into my husband? How could I pour into those around me? And then in a sense, the children will be affected, right? So in a church perspective, in the kingdom perspective, I would like hopefully that with this book, it could start to draw the conversations to talk about the family, the order of the family, the divine order that God originated it. What did it really look like? What was it supposed to be like? Because we know that the world does a lot of things that's unaligned from God, okay? Right now we have different movements, right? And a lot of these movements are steering us away further and further from God's original design for the family in so many different ways. So I would love for the church for us to start saying, what was God's design when he created male and female, husband and wife? What did that look like? The book is called Spiritual and Natural because there's a lot of spiritual things that we do and we don't even understand the adverse effects that will have in our relationships. Some of us, maybe we have dated. Some of us, maybe we weren't virgins when we got married. And then there's a thing called soul ties, and we don't even know what that means, and we don't even know how that affects, and it can affect your marital union. So I speak in this book about natural aspects of it, like the work. That's going to work. That's a natural thing we have to do, but also where were we at? What knowledge, what experience, what wisdom do we really have? And maybe some of us didn't follow the way and didn't know the way and weren't taught how to be the way. So we have this thing called soul ties now. And then we're in our relationship and we're like, what is this happening? Why am I feeling this? Because somebody else is still in your spirit. And you haven't even made room to, some of us don't even know that there's a thing called that. So with the church, I feel that we can, yes, it's good to go, it's good to worship. But at the end of the day, a healthy church is one that has healthy family. And a healthy society is one that have healthy families as well. So what does that look like? Also, there's scriptural reference because we never made this thing. It's him, it's God who made it. He made us. So in order to know how this thing is supposed to go, we need to go back to him. So throughout the whole book, it's all built upon biblical principles and scriptural reference. It's nothing of me, nothing of myself. It's everything that I had to learn and go through and figure out through God's word, which created me and give me my self-love. Because if I don't love myself, I can't love anybody else. So these are kind of the things that I hope that we can start really having authentic, real conversations about.
Awesome. And I love what you just said. Throughout the book, there's actually a number of scriptures quoted to tie back to what she's talking about. So whatever she's saying, she brings it back to a particular verse in the scripture for you to see, okay, this is where this is coming from. And so she's going back to basics, back to on with the original. That's what we normally say in church, on with the original. So she's going back to the basics, and that is back to the word of God, what God intended for relationships to be like, healthy relationships. We find that a lot of persons now are having to deal with this word toxic. Toxic environment, a toxic relationship. Everything is just toxic, not good for you. And so we have the book here that talks about what can be the barriers in your relationship, what spiritual things can happen in your relationship that will cause a breakdown, what natural things in your relationship that can cause a breakdown. There's this part in the book. I'm reading the book, people. All right, so there's, and I flipped to the back. Right? So there's this section in the book that I like. I like this section. And I actually took notes from this section. And there are sections at the front that I read. And I when I'm reading a book, I have my highlighter. And yeah, so you can tell that I actually read the book. Right? So there is a point, a reference point at the back. And it says fundamental foundations before marriage checklist. And listen to me. You want to get married? Listen to me. You need to have a checklist. You need to have a checklist. Oh, but I love him and I love her. You need to have a checklist. And I am loving this. And so there's a checklist that's at the back of the book. All fours, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So she highlighted the checklist that you should go by to say, okay, am I compatible? We talk about being unequally yoked. Yes. And I saw that in the book. We talk about being unequally yoked. And these are a number of things that we miss when we are, he goes to my church. She goes to my church. But yeah, let's look at Canada and the US. He goes to your church. She goes. what kind of credit score them have? Like, seriously, people. And I know that is something that we often do not talk about. Yes, we don't talk about finances, so and that is the first thing that is on the checklist. Yes, and so I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. People, you need to come and you need to get this book. The book launch is going to be on the 15th of June. All right, but going back to the book itself, you talked about the birth, and you talk about a number of issues. But what were the challenges, the overall challenges that you faced while writing the book, getting the book to the publisher? What were the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, so I think, as you know, Minister Adeth, we're all just busy. We live in a Western society that just keeps us busy. So I think working a full-time job, being a wife and a mother, and just trying to find the time to discipline myself to say, hey, this is a block of time each day that I'm going to put aside to focus on this. So that was, I think, my number one challenge, trying to prioritize a time amongst everything else that I have going on in my life to say, you know what, this is a priority. This needs to take place. I would say another challenge that came to was I had some interesting things happen, and it's so funny. There was the wonderful woman that was helping me with this book, Minister Joan Nicholas. She was like, wow, there is a warfare on this book, because she's like, I have edited many books. And what had actually happened, the photo that you guys see on the front of the book, they kept on asking her for the copyright for that. They kept on saying, I need the rights, I need this. And it was a lot of back and forth. And she was like, I've never seen this before. She was like, this is supposed to be a simple thing. And so the back and forth with the publishers, we had to go back and forth, and she had to send in all this stuff. And she's like, I've never seen this before. So she was like, she had to pray, and she's like, I rebuke every warfare. There's a warfare on this book, because it's going to deliver a lot of people. It's going to bring deliverance. It's going to bring insight. It's going to bring clarity. So that for sure, hearing that wonderful woman of God saying that, and she just saying like, no, there's something, kind of gave me the confirmation, because as I said, the blue screen of death, everything that could go, it was like, it's always something when it comes to this book. So that was some of the roadblocks that I faced along the way. Yes.
Okay, all right, but it is here.
Yes.
It is here. No matter what the enemy tried, it is here, and I give God thanks for that. I know that the official launch is on June 15th. So are there books out now?
Yes, you can find it on Amazon. Mm-hmm. It is available on Amazon.
Okay, so it's available on Amazon. All right, so question for you. What has the feedback been like so far?
Okay, so the feedback, so, it's so funny. I am going to say this. I had some people that are not in the faith that actually read it. And I take those feedback unique to me, because this one lady, she read it, and then she bought her son a copy. They don't go to church. They never raised in God, and nothing like that. And I remember the day she called me, and she's like, wow. And she quoted me. She's like, I'm on page 36. And she's like, I kept on wondering, why do I keep on dating the same people no matter, like it's the same similar relationship, but it's different people. Why am I finding myself in the same situation? And she was like, I didn't even know that this could have been a spiritual thing. I had no clue. So to have that feedback from somebody who is not kingdom, who is not Christian, and it impacted her so much, she bought a copy for her son, that was really a highlighting moment for me, because it's sowing a seed now to people. Because whether you're in the kingdom or not, we all have this thing called relationships that we deal with. We all face it at some point in our life. Mm-hmm. And so the feedback has been very wonderful, especially with the exercises, as you were saying, Minister Odette. I've had feedback, oh, the application, this is really good because, so what is happening, Minister Odette, is what I realized that a lot of people is like, I'm actually taking my time. It's a slow read. So I'm happy to hear that because that means the book is doing exactly what it was supposed to do. This is not a quick, let's read it. If you want to finish in one night, kudos to you. That's great. But it's meant to really, for one, to kind of take the time to take stock within themselves and kind of digest, reflect, observe, take the time within yourself to just, assess and address yourself, and see where you stand within yourself, right? So the feedback has been good in a sense where it's, wow, I'm doing the exercise and I'm taking my time. So that's been a lot of the feedback. So I do appreciate that.
Okay, that is wonderful. I'm trying to find the section here that I highlighted when I was reading it. Okay, here we go. There's a section in the book here that says, when we are not right in our hearts towards God, how can we really think we can have a strong foundation for our relationships? Yes. And that actually jumped out at me, and I had to highlight. So this is, as I said, this is what I do when I read. I highlight as I go through. When we are not right in our hearts towards God, yes, how can we really think that we have a strong foundation for our relationships? And that is profound. We have to be right with the Lord for him to guide us, for him to direct us. Yeah. And then he will do what needs to be done where our relationships are concerned. All right. So folks, you've heard it here. You can get the book on Amazon. Yes, the book launch will be on the 15th of June, but the books are already out and you can jump on Amazon. And they will ship anywhere in the world. So wherever you're listening from across the nations of the world, I'm seeing Germany in the house. I'm seeing the UK. I'm seeing Jamaica. I'm seeing Canada. I'm seeing the US of A. Wherever you are across the nations of the world, you can jump onto Amazon and you can find this book, Relationship Barriers, Spiritual and Natural. All right. You have to get the book. Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. I'm like, yes, get the book. All right, get the book and be guided accordingly. If you're not yet married, if you're entering into courtship, if you're in courtship, if you're married, get the book. There's, as she said, some of the times there's some things that happen to you and you don't understand why it is happening. You don't understand the pattern. Yes, get the book. All right, so we want to thank Novia Nisha for coming on this morning. And I give God thanks for what he's doing in your life in this time and in this season. Again, jump onto Amazon, guys, and get the book.
Are you feeling hopeless, disappointed, even unfulfilled in your relationship? Whether you're single, engaged, married, separated, or divorced, from the beginning of time, this one thing is for sure. Couples have wrestled in their relationships, and now more than ever, the family is being attacked. From finance, communication, infidelity, incompatibility, it is hard to push past these barriers. With this book, Relationship Barriers, you are sure to be equipped when you learn the principles that will bulletproof your union and take your relationship to a whole new level, where love, joy, peace, and understanding is your ever after.
Join us on June 15th at 1 p.m. MST on HGG Radio for the book launch, Relationship Barriers, Spiritual and Natural, with author Novia Hudson. Don't miss it.
All right. Awesome. Again, I want to thank you for coming in today and being my guest on the Morning Flow here on the segment Higher Hits. And we know it's going to be a hit. Indeed. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to wrap up with our listeners and our viewers. To just leave your final thoughts with us today. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I hope everyone was encouraged and inspired. And this is just a place where we can be real. You know, when I came in the studio, Minister Audette said, this is a place where it's a safe space. And you know what? As we're all working together in unity in the kingdom to create that safe space, please be encouraged. I hope that something that was said to you today touched you, impacted you, something that you feel that you could relate to or resonate to, because that's ultimately why I wrote this book. So if you're untouchable and you can't resonate, probably not the right book. But if you are and you're real and you want to delve into some self-healing and self-reflection, please do. And if you know anybody that is going to be getting married, and if you know anybody that is married and maybe going through a little rough patch in their marriage, or if you know somebody that's engaged, please, please, I would highly encourage you to consider getting this book for them, as I know it will springboard their relationship into a whole new, better foundation, a great foundation. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for coming on, and it was an honor and a privilege to have you as our guest. This is the first guest for the month of June. All right, so I give God thanks for what he has done and for what he's doing through you in the kingdom of God as he expands your territory by blessing others. All right, so God bless you and thank you. Remember, guys, jump onto Amazon. You can get this book, Relationship Barriers, all right? And if it doesn't resonate with you, you can give it as a gift. You can give it as a gift. Give it to someone that you know. And I'm looking forward to hearing wonderful things about this book. I'm listening. I'm listening out to hear from our listeners and our viewers that, hey, I got the book, and I'm reading the book. I'm already seeing someone writing in the chat. The comment said, very interesting book. Yes, sounds interesting. All right. Sounds like a wonderful book, right? Yes. So I'm looking forward to all our listeners and our viewers jumping on and saying to me, hey, I got the book and I'm reading it, and it's really, really been a mind-blowing experience. So looking out to hear good things about the book and from you, Novia. God bless you, and I pray that the Lord will continue to use you in this time and in this season.
Thank you for having me here.
You're most welcome. God bless you.
Blessings.
We want to give God all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise, because you know that the glory and the praise belongs to him. Nobody but him. And so we had a wonderful time with our very special guest this morning for the segment Higher Hits. And I am looking forward to you guys jumping onto Amazon to get the book, Relationship Barriers. Yes, give it as a gift if you think that it doesn't resonate with you, but I'm sure that there will be something in this book that you will find very enlightening. Yeah? If it's even the checklist at the back, listen, go out and support. This is what we do as kingdom citizens. Yeah, you buy different books from people that you don't know. You met the author this morning, right? So go out and support this woman of God as she continues to wave the bloodstained banner of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Again, I want to thank all our listeners and our viewers from across the nations of the world that came on this morning, whether on Facebook or on YouTube. I want to thank you, and I pray that the Lord will bless and keep you. I'm about to sign off of Facebook and YouTube, but I will be continuing on the radio side of things. So if you have not yet downloaded the HGG Radio app, jump onto your Apple Store, jump onto your Google Store and download the HGG Radio app. We are Higher Ground Gospel Radio right here in Edmonton, Alberta, where we're streaming across the nations of the world, and we are 24/7. Yes, we're here 24 hours, 7 days a week, spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ. So go ahead and download your app, where I'm going to continue on the radio side of things right now. But then I'm going to sign off of Facebook. God bless you, Facebook viewers. God bless you, YouTube viewers. Until tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow, where we're going to have the segment Ask the Pastor. And we're going to have a very special guest coming in all the way from Kenya. Tomorrow, we're going to have Pastor Isaac from Kenya. And you know that he always comes in with a word from the Lord. So I'm looking forward to that. So until tomorrow, God bless you, Facebook. God bless you, Sister Nevers. And God bless you, YouTube. Until next time.